What is up, my friends? How are we? You are very welcome along to tonight's late night agenda, where of course we have a lot to go through. We're going to be talking about Jonathan David. We're going to be talking about Trent's contract. We're also going to be obviously looking at what's going on between United and Spurs as the quarter or semi-final draw, of the League Cup takes place after United's game, which is currently 1-0 to Spurs. My dog's in the kitchen sounded like he's been murdered, by the way. I don't know where this has come from. Very distracted. I was about to start stream. My dog's in there going, "Arr! Arr!" I like to think he just misses me. Oh, he's answering back to wife now as well. Can we deal with the dog? By standing there and shouting at him. Welcome. Per Harvey hears I'm live and he wants to come on, you know. He's a big fan of Christmas. Can you hear him? Sometimes he sounds like a child. It's mad. Sometimes I'm thinking, is that a child crying? And nope, that's Harvey. Anybody who I guess was a friend she knows. Right, I don't know where to go with this one, Marcus, but thank you for the first super chat of the night. Appreciate you, bro. You're like an addictive drug to me. I mean, thank you, I think. So, right, look, we've a load to get through, and also I'm going to give you a little sneak peek of what looks like is going to be Liverpool's home shirt for next season, and we're going to show you where it takes its inspiration from as well. Yup, Harvey, said the Liverpool fella. I tell you what, he doesn't mess about. He gets a whiff of a sausage ranting as well, and he's straight out there looking. He understands the word sausage, actually, Harvey. He does, because you get this little bags of sausage treats. But anyway, welcome into the mad, wonderful world of Anfield Agenda, by the way. You never know how these streams are going to go. So, ladies and gents, we do have a lot to get through tonight. But I want to know, I'm going to ask you what I asked David Lynch in our video earlier on. Your preference. Who would you like in the semi-final? Yeah, let me know in the comments. And maybe we could, we could poll this, actually. It sounds like a poll, doesn't it? Let's get cracking. 1 second. Right, I'm going to give you all the options here, so... One sec, just putting the last one in here, folks. Bear with me. Right, so, who do you want in the semi-final? 3 options in there. Spurs/United, then obviously Newcastle or Arsenal. So let us know who you prefer in the semi-final. Obviously, I have to put Spurs-Newcastle. Oh, it's 4-1 Chelsea now, is it? Just lulling them to a false sense of security. That's all Rovers are doing there, Mark. 1-0, 1-1. And then, then let them have a couple of goals. Easy peasy. 5-4 comeback for Shamrock Rovers on there in the second half, Mark, no doubt. Right, let me get this comment up as well and say thank you so much for your membership, Jordan, and for your comment. So hope everybody has a good weekend when it arrives. Managed to get tickets for Sunday, but with the season ticket holders. Nice, well in, enjoy it, mate. It's going to be a good game. It's always a tasty game when we play Spurs. Depends on, I guess, which version of Spurs show up. But yeah, looking forward to it myself. I'm a little bit nervous about it, I can't lie. Is it 2 legs? It is 2 legs, Craig. Yes, my man, it is. It's 2 legs. Obviously, you'd love the second leg at Anfield, wouldn't you? But it is 2 legs in the semi-final. So yeah, let's wait and see. Craig, who would you take for a centre-back replacement for Virgil if he leaves? Well, he isn't leaving, so we don't need to discuss it. He's going to sign a new deal. In fact, it could already be done. I don't know, but... look, I think we can forget about worrying about Virgil and Mo. I think they're boxed off, and I think we're going to get those announcements soon enough. And everybody I'm speaking to feels that confidence around those two. But the Trent situation, which of course we will talk about tonight, I really don't know still what's going on there. I mean, there's new reporting from David Ornstein, which we'll go through in a little bit. Do I like cricket? Not really, mate. I don't mind a bit of T20. Isn't too bad. Right, so here's an interesting thing on Jamie Vardy. Nothing Liverpool related, but just an interesting one to kick us off. So, Jamie Vardy has been known to teach himself choice insults in the native language of the centre-backs that are marking him. Now, I have to respect that level of shithousery from Jamie Vardy. Teaching himself how to wind up the centre-backs in a different language is, let's give credit where it's due. That takes a bit of effort. So, interesting one. Lukester, how are you, mate? With us for 16 months. And Lukester's a Chelsea fan as well. How are you doing tonight? But also let you know 4-1 and we're not in a title race. Yeah, you're not kidding anybody with they're not in a title race stuff, bro. You are in a title race and deservedly so. So embrace it. But the 4-1 stuff, Lukester, we're just, luring you in. Like we did in the Welcome to Dublin, Lukester, before you went to Temple Bar and had to pay a tenner for a pint of Guinness. So, maybe this can be our apology to you for that 10 quid pint of Guinness that you had to buy. I still feel guilty over that, mate, that you came over here and paid a tenner for a pint of Guinness. And not even a good pint of Guinness by the sounds of it either. David Massett, Arsenal, so we can laugh at the excuses. Oh, sure, the deserve to win-o-meter will be on full display, David. The deserve to win-o-meter will melt down if we play Arsenal. Right, I want to say something really quickly before the chat fills up to its max and we get to our peak numbers for the stream. I'm wound up, ladies and gentlemen. I'm wound up. And I want to know how you feel about this, right? So I'm sitting there watching Spurs and United playing, thinking to myself, my God, they're both shite. And then what do I hear? Feed the Scousers being sung once again by the Manchester United fans, the travelling fans to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I'm sick of it. And look, I'm not even a Scouser. So, maybe Scousers brush it off or whatever. I don't know. But when are they going to get actually held to account for this crap? Because we're not playing. Nothing to do with us. They're in London playing Spurs. And I'm sitting here hearing Feed the Scousers yet again being sung. And we'll get the usual, oh sure, it doesn't mean that, or oh sure, it's only a small amount. It isn't, it's arse. It happens so often now. And it's just disgusting. Honestly, I think we need to get to a place where we're better than this as football fans. And I know many, many great Manchester United fans, but singing about poverty now, that's acceptable, is it? In a game where you're in a quarter-final, losing 1-0 to Spurs and still make time to start singing about Scousers again. Jobo said, I'm a Scouser and no, we don't push it off. There's a lot of poor people in the city and it's highly offensive. Exactly. If it offends me, and I'm not Scouse, mate, it offends me on behalf of the great people of Liverpool or anywhere else that people are singing about poverty because, it's no laughing matter at this time in the world. Just to give you an example of why I'm wound up by it, right? So when we all grew up, I'm not sure if it was the same over in the UK, but certainly here in Ireland, we grew up and we were all, we went home around Christmas time with a trochra box to raise money for people who were suffering from famine in Africa and stuff like that. And growing up, that was it. Everybody did their best to try and help a third world country and raise a few quid for very good causes. And now in this day and age, we're sitting here modern times and I'm looking at, food banks in Ireland, food banks in the UK, multi-banks and raising money for what is a first world country in my own country and in the UK. It's sickening to see this level of disparity that working people can't even afford to keep the lights on and pay the bills, man. It's disgusting. But anyway, sorry to go off on a tangent there. I just had to get that off my chest because it quite frankly disgusts me hearing anybody. And I don't care if it's Scousers singing about Manchester singing about Scousers, Londoners singing about Newcastle. It's all just sick. Hey Craig, Merry Christmas. I'm absolutely buzzing for Sunday. Can't wait to see us remind the rest of the league how good Liverpool are. We love that, Don Pre, and thank you, bro, for your membership for 12 months and for your thoughts on the game. So, will we have a little look at what has been leaked by Footy Headlines as being Liverpool's home shirt for next season? We've got an image here that we're going to bring up on screen, and you'll see exactly where the inspiration for the shirt comes from. So bear with me. There we go. What are we thinking? That was released today on Footy Headlines, and you can see where it gets its inspiration from. So obviously the shirt on the right hand side is the one that's been linked as a Liverpool shirt for next season. So let me know your thoughts on that one. I think it's tasty, to be honest. I really like it. Yeah, you can see exactly where they get the inspiration from the piping around the abdomen, I guess, of the shirt. But 0 out of 10 for Christie, mate. I don't know where you're getting 0 out of 10 for. That's just nonsense. Unless you meant to write 10 out of 10, I don't know. But 0 out of 10 feels a bit harsh there. I think it's nice. It's nice. Look, kits are obviously a personal thing to everybody, but I think a lot of people of a certain generation, like Connor as an example, would have probably grown up having that shirt on the left as one of their first Liverpool shirts. So I think it's a good solid effort, and very much looking forward to Adidas being back. Exactly, Bradley. Exactly, bro. Defo gives off Fernando Torres vibes, doesn't it? Which understandably, it's class. It's class. I don't like the new Adidas badge, by the way. I don't like... They seem oversized or something these days on a lot of the Adidas shirts. But as an effort of a first home shirt, I think that's more than acceptable. If, of course, it turns out to be that one. But yeah, it's looking well. Right, so, loads to get through. So let's get cracking. Let's start off with some stuff that we didn't really get to cover yesterday because we had the watch along. So we had a couple of bits and pieces that we carried over, and I wanted to speak about them today. So, firstly, James Pearce reported that Liverpool intend to appoint a global talent scout, and they're creating 4 new regional European jobs, including roles in the Netherlands and Belgium, which is great. I'm all for Liverpool extending the scouting departments, but you know, it needs to be obviously with some recruitments being brought in on the other side of it. But again, good to see that the Reds are putting more tentacles out there into the scout network. The Liverpool fella said, when it comes out, I'll be buying it straight away. Really bad. He showed one a few months ago, which is better. It's very similar to the one from a few months ago. There's only a slight change on the collar, to be honest with you. Other than that, they're almost identical. Yeah, interesting one. So yeah, thoughts on the shirt, thoughts on everything else. And look, now we'll get into the news around, I guess, Ryan Gravenberch, right? Real Madrid, the greedy little piggies that they are, want to take Ryan Gravenberch from Liverpool, according to various reports over the past couple of days. Now, Florian Plettenberg came out with something that said, Gravenberch is not currently considering leaving Liverpool. Really? Shock horror that. It's almost as if, why would he leave the team that has allowed him to develop into the player that is one of the best in his position at the moment, under a manager that absolutely loves him and a fan base that very much appreciates what we have here. He said the 22-year-old is a key performer and a leading player for the team. Currently, there are no plans or discussions regarding a transfer in the winter or the summer. And also, he went on to say, being told that Liverpool have no intention of pursuing a swap deal with Arley and Tchouaméni. They really are just entitled arseholes, aren't they? And why would Gravenberch leave anyway? You know, he's just put them to the sword in the Champions League anyway. And he's our boy. See, this is what gets me, right? Because Real Madrid had the same opportunity that Liverpool and every other club had to go and buy Ryan Gravenberch when Bayern Munich weren't able to give him the playing time that he would have needed. But they didn't. And now that Liverpool and Ryan have developed him into the player that we see before us, all of a sudden now they're interested. It's mad. But you're not getting him, Florentino, so you can forget about it. Henderson Galbraith said, I cannot explain how much I dislike Real. I find them hilarious because, you know, they talk about respect, right? And talk about not showing up to Ballon d'Ors where they're not respected. And at the same time are competing in the Champions League while pushing this new Unity League, Super League behind the scenes. They're just the epitome of everything that's grubby about modern football to me. I can't stand Real Madrid and their entitlement. Adam Reynolds said, how you doing? I am good, mate. I'm good. Look, it was sad news in my estate today, to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen. Woke up to the news that a young lady was murdered in our estate last night in her home around 3 a.m. Now, I didn't know this young girl, but it's obviously very sad at this time of the year to hear these things, and you wake up with police in the estate around everywhere and journalists and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, very sad times, and again, just terrible to hear at this time of the year. I'm a Canadian and I don't think David is ready for a move to Liverpool, said Stephen Landry. Well, I'm going to move on to speak about Jonathan David, mate, in a few minutes ago. Yeah, in a few minutes, sorry. I'm going to move on to speak about him because I've been spending some time today watching some highlights and some clips of Jonathan David. What am I doing for Christmas? Going to the in-laws. Yeah, we always go up to my wife's parents on Christmas Day. Handy. Again, save any of us having to cook the dinner or clean up, so it's always great. Mervyn said, "Hey Craig, I just wanted to ask you, have you ever felt exhausted about discussing the Trent situation?" Yes. 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 A lot, mate. A lot. I wind myself up, Mervyn. That's what happened, you see. So we start talking about Trent, and we will again tonight. And I start winding myself up about it. It's not so much the comments. I mean, what you guys say and do and ask, absolutely fine. That's what I'm here for. You can ask as many times as you want. But I'm just getting wound up by the whole thing. Not you, as I said, but certainly the situation that we are still here. And the bit we're going to move on to speak about in a moment from David Ornstein doesn't exactly look like we're about to see it signed off either. So we'll talk about that in a second. What are you on about, Niall Brady? Stop saying me. I don't even know who you are, mate, or what you're on about. So, yeah, sorry, mate. I haven't got a clue what you were talking about. Right. Do you think Darwin could become the new Origi? No, I don't. As I said, for me, the whole Darwin situation, will see him moved on in the summer. But, yeah. I'm going to get behind him while he's still here, but everything that I'm learning suggests he's off in the summer. You know, I don't think there is any convincing Arna at this point. But, you know, we'll wait and see. LYP Badger said, "I'd love to shout out my mum, who's gone through a tough time after her granddad passed. Cheers for cheering me and my brothers up at your Liverpool update, Craig. And United would be an outrage if it was at them." Well, firstly, massive shout out to your mum, mate. And I'm very sorry to hear about your granddad. And I'm sure that it's a very sad occasion for you and your family, mate. But mums are amazing, aren't they? You know, always keeping the spirits up, always making sure everybody else is looked after and happy. So, yeah, massive love to you and your family, mate. And thank you so much. What's your favourite away kit colour of all time? It's probably got to be either a grey or a green and white. One of those two I always love Liverpool wearing. Henderson said, "Time to sell Darwin. Good enough lad, but he's not good enough for us. It's been 3 years, zero improvement." Look, everything that I'm led to believe, mate, is that he's going. But, you know, we just get behind him while we're here. Oh, 2-0 Spurs now. The chat's let me know it's 2-0 Spurs. Well. Oh, by the way, on United, just when I thought that Radcliffe couldn't get any lower, this comes out today. Are you ready for this? Exclusive from Sean Cunningham said, Manchester United cut the stewards £100 Christmas bonus and the £50 cash prize for Steward of the Week as Ineos consider and continue slashing costs. And one of the quotes in the piece said, "You're pinching off people at the bottom of the ladder." And I very, very, very much agree with that. How do you cut £100 bonus for hard-working stewards and then remove a £50 cash prize for Steward of the Week because you're pissing away money at the top end of the club? I have a lot of sympathy for angry Mancunians around this, because it is miserly, it is pathetic, and Jim Radcliffe should be called out on it, because £100 here and £50 there isn't going to make up for the money that the senior people at that club have pissed away. It's embarrassing what's going on there, and Jim Radcliffe should be ashamed of himself, in my opinion. The White Crown Paints one, RBHE said, was the best away. That was a belter of a shirt, mate. An absolute belter of a shirt. You know what? I think we're really lucky as Liverpool fans, right? Particularly the ones who grew up in my era. Some of the shirts, if you look back over them, lads, we've had some great shits. We've had some great shits over the years. Some great shirts over the years, and yeah. Some of those ones, like you said, the Crown Paints one, the Candy Grey Fleck one. You know, the ones that John Barnes is in them, bulging full of muscles and just looking absolutely top notch. Bobby Sorry, mate. I meant to get back to give you a shout out a minute ago, Bobby. Sorry, bro. I said I've only started watching you this month, and you're already one of my favourite streamers. Thank you. I appreciate that, mate. It's great to have you in with us. I knew tonight was going to be a quieter stream, but they excite me as well. You know, because even on the quieter streams, I feel like we all get to know each other a little bit better and get to have a proper chat. Remember the FA Cup final in the white suits? Oh God, yes, I do. Ella, the Armani suits. I think wasn't David James responsible for those? I think he had a deal with Armani. I remember somebody talking about this before. Yeah, they were horrendous. They was that 96, 97, sometime around there, or have I got the years wrong on that one? But yeah, they were horrendous. Sir, this lad, sir. Yeah, and that's what gets me, Kieran. A sir, somebody who's been knighted, is penny pinching to such an extent that you're taking money off the frontline workers to make up for the waste of those up the chain at Manchester United. The whole thing, quite simply, should be beneath United. It's disgusting. Alex said Sir Jim is a clown. Well, Craig, I read something about FSG reluctant to offer a new deal to Diaz because of FFP. Yeah, that's nonsense. Nonsense. Look, I can see the perspective of why FSG or Liverpool would be not in a rush to extend Lucho because, you know, he's on a very reasonable wage compared to others. And I think he still has 2.5 years to run on his contract as well. So, you know, from one perspective, I can see why Liverpool wouldn't be in a rush to do that. But, you know, if you want to keep him happy, I think most of us here would agree he could probably deserve a bit more than he's currently on. But, yeah, I don't think we've any PSO or FFP calculations to worry about. How could we? You know, we didn't spend anything really in the summer. So, yeah, I just don't believe that to be the case. It was 96, was it? Yeah. That was such a mad year as well, because in 96 we had some of my favourite Liverpool shirts. The green and white chessboard one, the yellow away one. Belter shirts in that year. Nick said, my first was the 1977 one, which kept me through to 81. It's, yeah, some great shirts, man. Some great shirts over the years. Paul said, what's going on with Salah's contract? It's been weeks now since he was supposed to sign. So, think of it this way, Paul. There's nothing to say that these deals aren't progressing along. And Liverpool obviously have something in their mind about an announcement, maybe of a few. So, honestly, Paul, I get where you're coming from, but I think we don't need to worry about it. You know, look at the amount of people who've come out in the last couple of weeks. The Mirror, the Mail, Aguero, and others. Then there was the gentleman in Egypt as well who said, you know, a friend of Mohamed Salah's who said it's done. I really do feel it's done. So I don't think you need to be overly concerned about it. But I get it. It's frustrating until we see it. I became a Reds fan in 82, so seen some great kits, said Ben Barrett. Nice. So my first Liverpool kit was the grey 1989-90 Candy Fleck one. That was my first shirt. My first Liverpool shirt, I should say. Right, so I want to get into the actual news now. So, Jonathan David. Let's talk about Jonathan David for a second, and then we'll move on to Trent's contract. So, David Ornstein said, Lille forward Jonathan David is set to be one of the most sought-after free agents in the market next summer. Liverpool, Spurs, Chelsea and Aston Villa are among the sides who rate him. I would add to that Juventus and a few other teams have been linked as well. Now, I did spend some time today watching up some Jonathan David highlights, and I was actually a little bit surprised, to be honest, at the range of different types of goals that he scored. And, you know, I don't know whether he will be good enough for the step up to the Premier League top level or to Liverpool. I don't. But what I can say is, looking at him and seeing the different range and ways he scored and his movement, I almost felt I was looking at an early Luis Suarez to some extent. I know that sounds a bit mad, right? But if you go and watch just the way he dribbles, the way that he almost just his predatory instincts to be there with little one-touch finishes and stuff, it was Yeah, it was very interesting. Now, look, all of these highlight reels and stuff are showing the best of everybody, so you can't really take that as a full indication. But honestly, I was surprised at the range of goals he was scoring and the movement. Yeah, there was a lot to like there, but I just keep thinking, is it because he's free that FSG and Liverpool maybe are in this conversation? Would we want Jonathan David if he wasn't coming up on a free? He's still, I think, 24 years of age. I'm going to get a chance to look at him for the Lille game. I'll be over for the Lille game in January over at Anfield, so get a chance to have a look at him up close. Oh, it's 3-0 Spurs now, is it? Oh dear. The dream's over there already then for United, is it? The Ruben Amorim restoration, the genius. He seems to have lost more games than he's won at this point. Am I wrong about that, by the way? 3-0 to Spurs. Am I wrong about this? Has Amorim now lost more games than he's won so far as Manchester United manager? If indeed he loses this one, which he will at 3-0 down. Finty Tin said, alone this Christmas but trying to make the best of it. Well, my friend, we will probably be doing a lot of streaming in and around Christmas, and it's never great to be on your own, but there is always upsides to it, I hope you treat yourself to some lovely festive grub, and yeah, appreciate you sharing that, my man. But I love the attitude though. I love the attitude, bro, where you're like trying to make the best of it. That's awesome. Great outlook, by the way. Yes, he has lost more than he's won. That's shocking. That's shocking. But to be fair, Spurs did seem to go a lot stronger with their team selection than United today. But you would think that he'd look at that and think, right, let's try to get this sorted. Like, you're in a semi-final if you win that game, and I don't care who you are as a manager, it is always a bonus if you can bring some silverware in your first season. Obviously, we're hoping Arnold delivers that for Liverpool this season. But it's an interesting one. Right, let's look at the poll. I said, who do you want in the semi-final? Spurs/United is looking very much like that's going to be Spurs now. Is leading the poll with 56%. It feels like we're going to see a North London derby pulled out of the hat though. But let's wait and see. We will give you guys the draw, whether we're still live for it or not. I'll be recording a video with the draw afterwards anyway, but let's keep this poll open and see if you guys stick with, now that we know it's likely to be Spurs, if you keep voting on that one. Should have kept Van Nistelrooy, said Toes. Did I ever play Gaelic football? Yes, I did. I played it all the way from primary school through secondary school. Only for the school, by the way. But yeah, loved it. I prefer United because they're crap. Yeah, that would have been my want as well, mate. Yeah, I would have wanted United. If United go out, though, it's a difficult one. I mean, I think Newcastle would be not a preference, because anybody you're getting in this semi-final, whether it's Spurs, Arsenal, Newcastle, it's going to be a difficult couple of games, because every side in there, good quality side, so it'll be interesting to see. You just want the second leg of it at home, though. That's what you would hope for coming out of the draw. Spurs are so unpredictable. Yes, they are, which is why I'm nervy about the weekend. You don't know which Spurs is going to show up. Gareth said it's a 2-leg. I know, mate. That's why I said I'd like the second leg at home. But yeah, it's I can't wait, honestly. I think the final's in March as well, if my memory's right. So it'd be lovely if Liverpool could get through to another final, and Arne Slot could get a trophy under the arm in March. United should have gone strong, said Lisa, because it was their only chance of winning anything, but I think we can beat any of them over 2 legs. Well, I wonder, Lisa, you'd have to have them in with a contention in the Europa, right? I know that they haven't played great in there this season, but with Amorim in, with maybe a few little tweaks and a bit of January shopping, maybe, if United can afford that, you'd have to say they should be up there looking at the Champions League Europa League with the strongest squad. It's not particularly strong, that competition this year. The depth in it isn't too frightening, and there'll be no teams dropping down out of the Champions League either. What is your opinion on Italian football? I don't watch much of it these days, to be honest. Like, when I was growing up, Italian football was where it was at, you know. Serie A was where the money was, you know, and where the big players were. But I don't watch too much of it these days, to be honest with you. And when I do, I find myself quite bored watching it. Ange is looking to win the Carabao Cup because he says he always wins something in his second year. I know, and it'd be an awful shame if we were the ones to have to break his heart there, wouldn't it? Hopefully. You know, it'd be interesting. A North London derby over 2 legs would be a very tasty set of semi-finals for them. And Liverpool Newcastle as well. I mean, any which way this semi-final shapes up, I think you're going to get good games. Curtis, how are you, sir? Curtis LFC. Appreciate you, sir, and thank you for your super chat. Said, I'd love Spurs to beat Arsenal in the semis. Can you imagine? I mean, the deserve to win meter would go into meltdown there. So yeah, I'm with you, mate. It'd be hilarious. Mark said, sorry, Craig, 5-1. Mate, don't be apologising to me. I'm not a Shamrock Rovers fan. I'd be a Shelbourne fan, so you don't apologise for me if Shamrock Rovers are getting whooped. That's you know, that's for Rovers and their supporters to worry about. T Black said, Jonathan David. Yes, mate, we've been linked with Jonathan David, and as I mentioned earlier on, David Ornstein was saying that he's going to be one of the most sought after free transfers in the summer. So I just wanted to get everybody's take on, you know, what they think about the idea of Jonathan David maybe being somebody we're looking at. What's the deserve-o-meter? So Arsenal fans, Ruin, have this way of looking at stats and putting them on what they call the deserve to win-o-meter, which basically shows reasons why they were robbed or they should have won games. So look at any of their draws and you'll see that deserve to win-o-meter would have them, we should have won 89%, we should have won that game. They'll pull out some stats, throw it up there, and then we all get to look at and laugh at them. They can never just say we weren't good or, you know, we didn't deserve to win. Never heard that out of them. It's always the ref's fault. I don't know, the pigeons were flying too vigorously around the stadium and the football was too round or whatever. It's embarrassing, but, you know, I do love to laugh at them. Prefer Tottenham, less running and hard challenges for our boys, plus they can't handle fixture congestion to make Anfield great again. Well, we're going to find out in, 45 minutes time or so when the draw takes place. Craig, Kia ora from New Zealand. Do you think we will do any business in the January window? I hope so, but you know, you can never guarantee anything with their financial situation with the owners, can you? I very much hope that we have to get the midfielder sorted. We have to. You know, that's all I really expect in this window is for us to bring in the midfielder. If we don't, I think we're running the risk again of being left a little bit short as the season progresses. Will I be live for it? Unsure, Nathan. I'm going to try and stay on roughly around that time. It depends how long they drag it out for with the draw. But if I'm not live, we'll do a video about it afterwards. But I hope to still be live for it. Right, so lots more news to get through. So Santi_J_FM has said that Liverpool are working hard behind the scenes to sign Ryan Cherky in January. So again, this one massively confuses me. Lyon are in a financial dire straits. They have to free up some money or they're going to be facing potential relegation. So I can understand maybe clubs looking at Cherky, but I just don't know where he fits in for us if we were to bring him in. And normally I would kind of brush this link off, but it's come up a lot over the past month or two, as you've probably seen yourselves. So yeah, I don't know all that much about him. but I just don't see why we'd need him. That's the part that massively confuses me. It's 3-1 now, is it? I mean, 3-1 with what? 25 minutes to go, something like that. Craig, do you fancy getting Kirkes in the winter window? So I spoke with David earlier on today. I don't know if you guys had a chance to watch the video, but we spoke and we tried to link up that Julio Soler guy from Lanús in Argentina that apparently Bournemouth are looking at. So I think it gives us a real indication that yes, Liverpool are looking at Kirkes, but David's thought process, and I can understand this, was that if they bring him into Bournemouth, they'll probably ease him in over the next 6 months and then let Kirkes go. So I do think there's a lot of credibility to the idea of Liverpool looking at Milos Kirkes, but I don't know if it will be January or not. Yeah, I'm being honest. Like, I always tell you guys the honest truth. If I don't know something, I'll happily say it. If I do hear something, I'll let you guys know. But I think we can say we're genuinely interested, but whether it's January or maybe we wait and see what happens in the summer, I don't know. But I'm also, being really honest, I'm okay about that if we can keep our two left-backs fit. You know, if we can keep Robertson to one game a week and keep him in a rhythm and then have Costas there as well and Gomez as an alternative, I'm okay with that till the end of the season. I don't think, personally, the left-back situation is going to be what might cost us a league title. But I can totally understand anybody's feelings that we need to strengthen there. I agree with you. I just don't know if it'll be in January or not. Craig, after the fire that happened in my house, watching you is my only source of happiness. Oh, I'm sorry to hear about your house, my man. But look, you're safe, and that's the most important thing. Obviously fires and stuff like that, terribly frightening, mate. And I'm glad that you're well. But, you know, fingers crossed there's good times ahead for you and the family, mate. And, yeah, much love to you. Any news on Canade? Yeah, a little bit of positive news. He looks like he's stepping up the rehab now. He's doing some more training. There was pictures of him on the exercise bike, I think it was. So, no definitive return date as of yet, but he certainly looks like he's moving closer and closer to it. As I've always said, I think you might see him for the Leicester game, but, you know, we'll wait for, I guess, confirmation of that. But definitely moving in the right direction there. And if you're talking about get Hussam sometime, nah, he's too toxic. I'm going to be fucking honest with it. You know, I had planned to bring him on, but then I got loads of emails and messages from people saying, look, Craig, here's a clip of this guy and this, watch it. And I got to be honest with you, mate. As somebody myself who's open and criticising players, some of the stuff I've seen it's honestly disgusting, you know, and it's very different than the type of criticisms I'd come across with. So no, he won't be coming on the channel because I don't think he's the right fit for our community. And I'm going to be polite and leave it there. But as I said, I don't know the lad, but I've never ever before received emails and messages from people telling me not to bring somebody on the channel. This was the first time it's ever happened. And as I've always said, we are a community-led channel, and if the feeling and the sentiment is that way, I listen. So, you know, I don't know Hussam on a personal level. I don't want to disparage the young man. But the clips that I'd seen, I can't be condoning that shit. I just can't. What is your getting to love Liverpool story? It's a bit of a weird one. Like I said, it was the 2-0 game that we lost to Arsenal, where Arsenal came to Anfield and won the All First Division title. My parents were having I would say a dinner party sounds too glamorous for it, but they were out with friends of theirs and they were having a Chinese and some cans, and I was in the living room, and I remember just watching that game, and although Liverpool lost it, I just ended up falling in love with Anfield and the crowd and seeing them just applaud Arsenal off as well. And I don't know what it was, but it was that night, just there and then on that spot, I decided I was going to be a Liverpool fan. And as life's gone on, I just felt like I've made the right decision. The more I got to know, obviously, about the city of Liverpool, I knew about the emigration from Ireland across. But it just feels, it's always just felt like more than just loving the football club. It's felt like a genuine connection to the city and the people. I see like us Irish and Scousers are very similar in a lot of ways. Callum said maybe Coppish. Look, my door's always open for the boys at Coppish. You know, always. Haven't spoke to them in a while, but, you know, great group of people. You know, lots of time for the team at Coppish. Good people. Right, what have we got? Cherky sounds like Jamaican sauce. Well, okay. Ray and Cherky is the guy's name. He 21, I think. 21 or 22. Plays for Lyon. He's an undoubted talent, by the way. I just, like I've said all the way through, I just don't see where he fits into Liverpool in our plans moving forward. It would surprise me. Curtis said, well said, Craig. I'm lucky to be from Liverpool, but I will say this, I never heard about Everton until I was 6. So you know what, though? To me, the bond has just deepened as I've gotten older. You know, honestly, everything about Liverpool, its people, this fighting spirit, the honesty, all of it. It just makes me feel like I'm in another. I'm at home when I'm in the city. Like it feels like I'm walking around where I grew up almost. Because, you know, I have a sense of humor that's very particular. It's very dry. It's very cutting, and it's very dark at times. And I find myself, you know, feeling the same way about Scousers a lot of the time when I chat with them. Well, it's 3-2 in the other game with 20 minutes to go. Spurs are going Spursy. Oh, this would be the mother of all capitulations if it happens, lads. 3-2. Spurs going full Spurs. Oh, my days. And 20 minutes to go as well. It's going to get nervy inside that stadium. And hopefully that nerviness continues into Sunday. That's mental. 2 goalkeeper mistakes as well. Wow. You know, this will be really embarrassing for Spurs, apart from the obvious that they were 3-0 up. They put out a far stronger team than United initially put out as well. So if they go 3-0 up and they let them back in, even with Fraser Forster mistakes, that's mental. That's crazy. Honestly, that is absolutely crazy. That's nuts. Anyway, let's get through more of the news. Where is this story? Not that one. Not that one. Right, let's talk about Trent for a minute. Because David Ornstein came out with something earlier on which, not great reading. Said, Trent, the first part of this, by the way, is absolute PR waffle. Said, Trent Alexander-Arnold has demonstrated strong loyalty to Liverpool and the club is making every effort to retain him. That's just PR waffle. No need for that. Then he comes out with, however, there have been no significant progress in negotiations so far. This to me feels like Trent's camp have briefed David Ornstein on something. The first part of that is what makes me feel like he's been briefed at from Trent's camp. Because why come out with he's demonstrated strong loyalty to Liverpool? Has he? Has he? Genuine question. How? How? That pissed me off when I read it. Because if you've demonstrated strong loyalty to Liverpool, you'd be signing a contract by now. And you'll be letting it be known in no uncertain terms that this is where you want to be, playing your football. And I don't care what anybody says. Nobody's heard that out of Trent's mouth. So this to me is another situation of footballers living in this bubble of ignorance and thinking, oh, I'm tremendous. You are loyal, Trent, and we love you. But fuck me, come out and say you want to stay, bro. You know? But that last part worries me. There's been no significant progress in negotiations so far. You know, if you couple that with what was said the other day, there was around 100 grand in the difference of valuations. I don't know what to say about it all, because let's just say the comments on any video we talk about this are not very upbeat. You know, people are getting a little bit frustrated, I think, now by radio silence and a lack of any movement in the right direction. I don't know. I've always been honest with you guys and said this is the one deal that I've had nothing on, so I haven't got a clue. But David Ornstein, you know, has obviously heard something, because he's not a spoofer. So for him to come out and say there's been no significant progress, that worries me. Because we are now 11 days, 12 days away from Trent being able to start talking with clubs outside the Premier League free and willingly. So that really, really worries me. Anthony Davis said, is Trent worried about the fans' reaction? So, again, mate, I can only say that, to me as a fan, it feels like he wants jam on both sides of his bread here. He wants to dangle the Real Madrid thing as an option to bump up a contract offer, but then wants to put out that, you know, he's been loyal to the club. If you're loyal to the club, you're going to say, I want to be here, I want to get this contract sorted. Yes, we're a little bit away, but this is where I want to be. And I know people will say, but that'll weaken his negotiating stance, but what about his legacy? That has to come into consideration here, because the PR around this from Trent's perspective has been shocking, because I don't know many Liverpool fans who haven't had a tinge of frustration towards the situation. And as I said, I read through the comments of some of the videos we do, and people are just unhappy about a lot of stuff with Trent. So I just think he's not making life easy for himself here. And I don't want toxicity towards him, but I do want to hear the words "I want to be here" out of his mouth. Latif, how are you, my friend? And thank you for your super chat, bro. Said, opinion on Trent Alexander-Arnold interviews, Bradley good enough? So, Bradley will be good enough, Latif, but I think it's fair to say he's not quite at the finished product level yet. Which is understandable. He's still a relatively young man in that position. But I think long term, you know, he will be the heir to Trent's situation if he stays around, or at least he'll be a really good alternative for Arne Slot to utilise. With regards to Trent's interviews, there's just again a whole load of nothing. You know, I often look back at these interviews and I think, why do these people even bother to apply for the interviews? Because you go on there, you get told you can't ask a load of questions. You ask a load of fluff piece bullshit questions that nobody really wants the answer to. When the first question that every single Liverpool fan wants anybody interviewing any of these lads to ask is, are you going to stay? Do you want to stay here? You know, but they won't, because once again, transparency doesn't exist in football, and these lads are so mollycoddled and wrapped in cotton wool that they aren't allowed to come out with any type of honest sentiment or statement. And again, I think we're just being taken for idiots as football fans. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on the interviews, is they're all just pointless. However they are, none of them actually get any information out of any of them. They just sit there and basically pat themselves on the back for getting the access. So, but here's the thing, and I'm going to say this publicly because I want it on the fucking record. We're going to apply to Liverpool to see if we can have an interview with Conor Bradley. Because obviously as an Irishman, I'm very proud of Conor Bradley. And watch us get pawned off while channels in America and others just get access to Virgil and Trent. But yeah, we're going to apply to the Liverpool Media Department to see if we can get an interview with Conor Bradley. And I look forward to hearing what excuse we get as to why we can't. But I'm sure we'll get one. Are you going to be live for the draw? Hope so. But we'll have to wait and see how the United game goes. You know, if they pull that back to 3-3 and it goes to penalties, probably won't be live for the draw. Right, actually, let's end this poll. So, we did ask you, we've had over 1,000 votes. Who do you want in the semi-final? So, Spurs/United are the winner with 55% of the vote. Second was Newcastle with 31%. And then Arsenal, 14%. They'll drag it to 10:45. It probably will, Mark, and I'll do a video on it then at that point. But, I mean, it is mad. Can we just talk about Endo for a minute, by the way? I thought Endo Endo showed a lot of character last night in playing a position that was almost like it was invented by Arne Slot specifically for him last night. You know, speaking with David Lynch earlier on today, and we both agreed, and he agreed with your decision last night to vote as Watoro as man of the match as well. I think Harvey Elliott was given it by the broadcasters, and look, Harvey, it's great to see Harvey back, but yeah, I thought Watoro last night really did step up and shows what a model professional he is. Now look, there was loads of great performances last night. I talked about Trey Leone as well. I thought he was absolutely fantastic for a young kid out there. Some very, just good. A good night all around, and I thought we managed the game well apart from that 10-15 minute period in the second half after they scored. Right, where are we? I don't think I've brought this one up yet, so let me read it out. I said, hello Craig, just wanted to wish you and your family a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Love your channel and this community. Love from Iceland. Thank you so much. Same to you and your family as well, my friend, and thank you for your continued membership on the channel as well. I hope you have a wonderful festive period, bro, and hopefully we get lots of wins as well. Right, Craig, bro, would you like a Man United final? No, not final. I'd rather a semi-final over 2 legs. Yeah. But look, it is what it is. You know, whoever we get, I don't expect it to be an easy semi-final because there are decent sides left in the draw. And United. So, I feel like I need to ask a question about Trent in the poll, but I want to know what question's the right one to ask, because I don't know. Give me an idea for a question to ask about Trent, because I want to gauge how everyone's feeling about it, but I don't want to put words in people's mouths. Mark said, if Spurs play like this in the second half against us and we do well in the second half, we'll hammer them. Yeah, if they don't show up 100%, we beat them easily. If they show up and play to the best of their ability, Spurs, they'll give anyone a game. You know, on their day, Spurs are a very capable side, but their days are few and far between at this point. Right, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to ask a simple question, because I think we've answered the question about the money a fair bit. I'm going to ask it simply. Do you think Trent wants to stay? That's it. Because any other question I feel like is unfair. And I don't want to add toxicity towards Trent, but I do want to gauge the fans' feeling about it, because I think that's important for us and these conversations. You know, my thoughts on his wages are he's absolutely not worth 300 grand a week, and not just Trent. Any right back in world football isn't worth £300,000 a week in my eyes. So, but I'd rather him get 300 grand a week and stay than not get it and leave. I'll be honest about that as well. You know, for me though, 250 is in and around what I think he's deserving of. Anything over that I think is too much. When you look at, he's going to have another contract extension probably in a couple of years' time again. So what are you going to do at that point? Zach said, has Trent handled the contract negotiations respectfully? You said respectively. I think you meant respectfully. I don't know, because we haven't really heard much. So, you know, you can look at it that he wants to keep it private, and it has been kept private. So if you look at it in that perspective and you say you're okay with it and it's not unnerving to you, I totally understand that perspective. But for me, I think it's gone on a little bit too long now without hearing any commitment about him wanting to be here for the future. And I don't buy this excuse that if he comes out and says that, he's basically taken the carrot of Real Madrid away, because I don't think he should be looking to play Real Madrid off against Liverpool for a club that he professes to love, grew up, came through the academy, and wants to captain someday. You know, I find it a little bit disrespectful if he was then playing Madrid off against Liverpool and dangling this thing here, knowing, that you either want to stay or you fucking don't. The Madrid thing should be almost irrelevant to me. Yes, we know it's there. We know they might be interested in you. But just to use that this long in a leverage, I just don't like it, in all honesty. I don't. I don't want any of these deals going into January. Any of them. Because at that point, it then, to some extent, leaves Liverpool's hands. And if we get to January and Madrid can get to Trent and get in his ear properly, I think it only goes one way from there. Craig, I think Trent thinks he's more than just your ordinary right back. He is, but that's why he's getting paid what he's getting paid now. I think Trent would be more than just your average right back, and that's why 250 grand a week is a number he's looking at, because look around Europe, you're not going to see too many fullbacks on similar amounts of money. So I think there is already that acknowledgement there that he's club's vice captain, he's already on a very good wage. He's going to get offered another bump in pay, and there'll probably be another contract extension in a couple of years again. So to me, that acknowledgement's already been given to him. Patrick said, I don't see any club paying Trent 300 grand a week. It's madness. I don't think he'll get what he's asking for elsewhere. And if the reports of £100,000 a week difference and Liverpool have offered 250 and he wants 350, I think that's piss taken, to be honest, because 250 is a good jumping off point for Liverpool. It's certainly headed in the right direction. But if 250 is not even bringing you into getting closer to these negotiations, I don't know. I feel like at this point, Liverpool fans just want an answer and don't want to be strung along. Because even if he signs in 3 months' time now, I think this has, in some ways, damaged his standing in certain Liverpool fans' minds. The sign-on fee at Madrid, though. He'd get a sign-on fee at Liverpool as well, mate. Any player that's in that position that Trent's in there now, when he's renewing a contract that's up at the end of the season, he will get a loyalty bonus in that signing. So the signing bonus you think he's getting at Madrid, he'll probably get a tasty signing bonus from Liverpool as well. Interesting looking at the poll, and we're going to leave that poll up there, by the way, for the remainder of the stream, so do let us know your thoughts on it. It's, do you think Trent wants to stay? Simple yes or no. So The Athletic have been writing a little bit about Omar Marmoush, and this is what they've had to say. Frankfurt are resigned to the fact that they will lose the attacker during the summer 2025 window, at least, or at the very latest, excuse me. A January transfer is still not ruled out. It's anticipated that he will join a side playing in the Champions League. Liverpool are one of the Premier League clubs looking at him. Bayern Munich, Napoli, Juventus are all said to be in the hunt as well. The asking price, according to The Athletic, is expected to be set between 40 and 50 million euro, leaving Liverpool and others with a big decision to make. I get him. That's the big decision. Go get him, thank you. Are Premier League contracts guaranteed? Yes, they are, mate. 4-2. 4-2 now. So that will kill off. That will kill off United's fight back. So 4-2. So Spurs are into the semis. Yeah. So anyway, that 40 to 50 million that I was mentioning a second ago, that's the euro price. So about 32 to 42 million pound. So More than reasonable, in my opinion. Son scored from a corner directly. Oh, wow. That's mad. You don't see too many of those. Bain there is a net though, so it's not Onana tonight. But still, to score directly from a corner, that's mad. How much is Trent being paid? Currently, I think it's in and around 200 grand, Wayne, at the moment, per week. Imagine getting 100k a week. Oh, Morton. Do you know what I mean? Most of us can only dream to maybe getting to 100k a year in earnings. And even that, you'd be happy with life at that point, wouldn't you? Guillermo said, Craig, how do you feel about the game of the weekend? I'm always nervous going to play Spurs. You know, and I guess the Diaz game and that whole goal that was disallowed for no reason just adds to the nervousness around it. I feel this game could have a big impact on the season. If we can, you know, get that win, which is another tricky game out of the way, keep a tiny gap there on Chelsea, although we still have a game in hand, I think that will be a big statement. But everybody will be looking at this. If you're an Arsenal fan, you're a Chelsea fan, a City fan, you're looking at this game and thinking this is one that Liverpool could very well drop points in. Wanted Son from Bayer, cracking player, said Fuentino. I think Jurgen wanted him as well. You know, I've always said Son would have been great in a Liverpool system under Jurgen Klopp. You could have seen exactly how it would have worked. And he's shown tremendous loyalty to Spurs, to be fair to him. Maybe a little bit too much loyalty, but cracking footballer. Absolutely, really hard work ethic as well. Would you have taken a look at Son a few years ago? Oh, God, yes. Oh, 100%, mate. There's videos that I made 2-3 years ago on streams saying just that. I think he would have been great in our system, particularly with Jurgen as coach and the way we played with Klopp. I think Son would have been ideal. Reports in Saudi Arabia state that Bobby Firmino is set to join Fenerbahce, where he'll be coached by Mourinho. Look, I'm at the point where honestly I just want Bobby to be happy. So, you know, if his football journey takes him to Fenerbahce, I'll be honest, I think anybody is lucky to play in the Turkish league or to try that league because it's one of the most fanatical leagues in Europe. Turkish fans absolutely love their football, as we know. So, yeah, look, I can see the appeal to any footballer at the latter stages of their careers, whatever, wanting to play for a little bit in Turkey because they are absolutely fanatical about their football. Keith said, I think we should let Trent go. Unfortunately, if he loves the club, he would have signed in a heartbeat. Yeah, and I agree. And that's where I kind of take some frustration with what David Ornstein posted. Because you can see the first part of that. It's just pure waffle. So to read it out again, Trent Alexander-Arnold has demonstrated strong loyalty to Liverpool and the club is making every effort to retain him. Why would you start off anything about a contract negotiation piece or talk about it in that way? I've not seen a shred to show that he's shown tremendous loyalty to Liverpool personally. And I'm not saying he hasn't either. But where, how? In what way? I really don't get this, because loyalty to me would be telling Liverpool that you are the destination where they want to be. Look, I can understand somebody holding out on their contract for a number or wanting to get closer to the number they want. You know, that's a negotiation. But like I've always said, the thing that's stuck in my throat through all of this is just not hearing him come out and say that he wants to be here. And I don't care if people tell me that that'll weaken his negotiating position. It would take a lot of pressure off his back with fans. Andrew said, Trent's body language says it all. Reading too much of his own PR for a long time now. Look, I think all footballers live in this weird little bubble at times where, you know, they're surrounded by people who basically are paid to just be yes people around them and blow smoke up their arse. And sometimes I think a bit of reality needs to set in here. And I feel quite comfortable in saying that this contract negotiation hasn't done anything to endear Trent more to the fan base. I think that's the fairest way I can say it. There's no doubting that Liverpool fans, and I'm one of them, feel a little bit frustrated by it. And, you know, we spoke before about a piece that came out that said Liverpool could have tried to get Trent to sign on before announcing Klopp's departure, but out of respect they didn't. And they were upfront and honest with Trent, with Virgil, with Mo. And, you know, now we find ourselves in this negotiating position. So I find it all a little bit snidey, to be honest with you. Dragging it along, not wanting to, you know, talk about it while the new manager hadn't come in, then new manager comes in. There's always been an excuse. Excuse, but still no solution. 4-3 now, is it? Fucking hell. 4-3 in the United Spurs game. That's mental. How long's left? Must be nearly over. What, we're 5-10? That must be just about over. Lenny Yoro. Nice moment for him. Coming back from injury, grabbing himself a goal. So about a couple of minutes left to stoppage time, people are saying. Yeah, and also, again, I brought this up at the start of the stream. I'm going to bring it up again. Oh, it was Johnny Evans, was it? Sorry, it was Johnny Evans. Someone said Lenny Yoro. Sorry, it's Johnny Evans. Either way, 4-3. I just wish United fans... Do you know what sticks in my throat about the United fans singing Feed the Scousers? They're going to be standing next to Liverpool fans before the game at Anfield next month, protesting ticket prices and walking down with banners, you know, rightfully protesting the ticket price increases, while at the same time singing Feed the Scousers when they're down in London. I don't know how you can match up those two things and not feel scummy about it or two-faced about it. Because, you know, if you get the excuse that's inside Old Trafford, it's a small section, not the regulars, whatever, but this is the travelling hardcore away fans in there singing Feed the Scousers, and it's fucking appalling. Craig, hope you and the family and the AA team are well. Been thinking hopefully FSG don't tell us we don't need a new centre-back because Endo played as a centre-back. Yeah, I can't see that washing, mate. Because it wasn't even really... Endo played in this mad kind of hybrid role between centre-back and midfield. Almost like a role that Arne Slot invented to get the most out of his attributes. And it worked. It worked. He was our man of the match last night. David Lynch thought he was man of the match as well. You guys voted for man of the match. So seconds left in that one, people are saying. Seconds left, and then we'll know the 4 semi-finalists. And then, of course, it's all eyes on the draw. James said, I went to school with a lot of the Liverpool players' kids, Rush, Barnes, Ince. Got on good authority a couple of weeks ago that Trent has told leadership he won't sign the new contract. Now, look, I don't know if that's the case or not, mate. But if that is the case, I mean, it has to be put to the fans. If he said that, and I'm taking you at your word on this because I don't know. But if that is the case, then the club need to be very clear about this. Because this pandering bullshit and taking everyone as idiots needs to stop if that's the case. But anyway, Henderson said, they're morons, Craig. Poverty is just as crushing in Manchester. Singing or getting any enjoyment at the thought of people going hungry is vile. It is. Absolutely vile. And, you know, same in my own country, mate. Poverty everywhere. And none of it deserves to be laughed or ridiculed. It's heartbreaking. So, game over. Game over. Apparently, the chat's telling me it's game over. James said there's a PR game going on now. Yeah, and I think both sides are losing. You know, if I can say that, mate, I think neither side, neither Liverpool nor Trent, are coming out of this smelling of roses at the minute, if I'm being honest. And, you know, I only ever give you my opinion, but that's how I feel about it. It's not great. The whole thing has been a piss take. Do you think they should scrap the two-legged semi? Well, they only just brought it back in. You know, it had gone down to one leg, then it's been brought back to two. Yeah, I think you could make a valid argument for playing at a neutral venue with the congested calendar the way it is. You know, you could remove one game straight away there out of the fixture calendar. So, yeah, I think putting it back to one leg and a neutral venue wouldn't be too shabby. Doesn't even have to be Wembley, by the way. You know, you could wait, I guess, and see who's in the quarterfinals or semi-finals, and then, you know, find some neutral venues, or have two venues but don't say who's playing in either one yet. So you could have, let's say, Villa Park and one down in London. What do I think of no VAR? I'm all for it. After having VAR and seeing the way it's been utilised in the Premier League, you know, I would love to go back to the days of no VAR. But, you know, those days aren't going to happen. But we will have VAR in the semi-final of the League Cup, both legs. Right, so the poll is still open. By the way, if you guys want to vote on it, the question is, do you think Trent wants to stay? So, for everybody asking, about 10:30 is when we're expecting the FA Cup draw. About 10:30. And it will be live on Sky Sports. Yes. Now, I will probably not be live at that point, but we'll wait and see. We'll play it by ear. Do you think Tottenham are bottle jobs? Of course. It's Spurs. They're Spursy. Yeah, absolutely. And not just this particular team of Spurs. Just go back. It's in the mentality of the club. Nigel said it's not the FA Cup. Did anybody say it was? Somebody in the chat say FA Cup? Sorry. It's League Cup, obviously. Who would you want in the semi-final? It'd be nice to see a North London derby and then us and Newcastle. So, yeah. That's my guess. I'm guessing we're going to... Oh, did I say it? Sorry, apologies if I said it. Sorry, I meant League Cup, obviously. Sometimes my brain and my mouth aren't on the same wavelength, so apologies on that one. Yeah, I'd take Newcastle and then let a North London derby happen for the other one. Morton says we'll get Arsenal 100%. Look, if we get Arsenal, we get Arsenal. You know, it is what it is. Either way, I think they're going to be two very interesting games, whoever we get. You know, whether it's Spurs, whether it's Arsenal, Newcastle. I think they're going to be exciting games. I think the semi-final lineup for the League Cup is great. Do we play our best 11 in the semis? Oh, good question. You'd have to go relatively strong whilst maintaining Kelleher in goal as an example. So I'd expect Kelleher to play. I think there will be probably 3 or 4 fringe players in there. Or, you know, let's just throw in, for argument's sake, an Elliott playing, who hasn't really had a lot of game time so far this season and is building back up fitness. Endo, maybe. I wouldn't expect it to be crazy young. You know, and again, it might depend on how the first leg goes, what team you see that in the second leg. But the only thing I feel certain about this point is saying Kelleher will be in goal. Business end of the cup, surely go for it. I agree. You're in a semi-final of a competition. You got to go for it. You know, be foolish not to. Let's say put out a younger team and they found their way through to the final. What a glowing reference that would be for the academy and the prospects coming through. If Jayden Dan's popped up with a goal, or Trey Leone put in another great performance, I mean, be very interested. When's the draw? Around about 10:30, we believe. Harley, yeah, I think there was a quick flicker there at my end for a second, so just refreshing should be fine. Apologies on that if there was a lag. The satisfaction some people get of telling me there's a lag is almost hilarious. It's like they're writing there, just waiting to write the word lag. What's the David news? Yep, no problem, bro. Give me 2 seconds. Let me just scroll back up. So, David Ornstein said, forward Jonathan David stands to be one of the most sought after free agents in the market next summer. Liverpool, Spurs, Chelsea and Aston Villa are among sides who rate him. And I guess we were just having a conversation of, do you think Jonathan David would be a good enough player to come into Liverpool? I honestly don't know the answer to it, but I know I'm going to get to see him up close in January when I go over to Liverpool for the Champions League game, so I'll have a look at him then. But for me, it just feels again like an opportunistic deal rather than the right deal. So I would still prefer Omar Marmoush personally, but it'll be he's not going to have a shortage of options. Let's say that, if he leaves Lille on a free, I think he's going to have more than a handful of top clubs looking at him. So people are asking, am I going to live stream the draw? I don't know. I'm going to stay on for a while yet, and we'll see if the draw takes place at 10:30. If it does start actually at 10:30, then yeah, we'll stick with it. If it doesn't, then I'll record a video with the outcome of the draw afterwards. But for the moment, we'll carry on as is. Do I think Rio will get some minutes in the cup? No, I don't. I think last night was the chance. Now, he may get minutes against Accrington Stanley. There's a decent opportunity there. But I thought last night maybe, even the fact he didn't get minutes last night, I mentioned this to David Lynch earlier on, I think it's still a good thing that he was with the team, travelled with them, was in and around the first team players, went through the whole experience of it. I think that'll be a good thing for him in the longer term anyway. So, one quick update for everybody. At the minute, we're trying to plan our end of season party, but I do have one thing that I will say that's going to be happening at it. David Lynch is going to be our MC for the night, and for the first time ever, I'm going to be interviewed. So if you want to come along when we get it boxed off with a date and all, we'll let you know, but we're working on that now. So our end of season live party is going to be a little bit different this time. I will be there doing my thing, but David Lynch has agreed to MC the night for us as well. He's going to interview me on stage, which will be the first time that's been done. Usually I'm the one asking the questions. And we're going to have a good fun night with a few surprises, maybe a couple of familiar faces along the way as well. So I will let you know when that's all booked in and confirmed, but we are working on it to try and get the date we want, and I'll give you more info as when we have it. What have we got? Yesterday was my birthday, and for a treat, I got myself a flight to see City versus Liverpool and the home against Newcastle. That is awesome, Ori. That's brilliant. What an amazing couple of games to go over to as well. City, Liverpool, and then Liverpool, Newcastle. And you're getting to make your Anfield dream come true. Oh, mate, that's so heartwarming. Thank you for sharing that. I love it. I love when footy fans like that get their first trip to Anfield, and it's a lifetime ambition. It's brilliant. I'm so happy for you, mate. Well in. And you're right to treat yourself. Sure, you only live once. Why not? I just hope Arsenal and Tottenham don't win the cup, said Orange Boy. So for me, look, even if Arsenal do go on and win the cup, it means nothing to me for Arteta. He has to win a Premier League or a Champions League to be taken seriously, because there's nothing wrong with a domestic cup. Don't get me wrong. I'd be very happy if Liverpool won the League Cup. But if you really want to talk about proper progression there, you've got to be picking up a big one or two with that money that's been spent there. Anfield night games are amazing, said Rich. Oh, Rich, I love it. Rich, for me, where possible, nighttime games at Anfield. That's why we chose the Champions League game to go over to as well. There's just something magical about walking up the steps, seeing the floodlights as in your eye line as you get up, then the grass on the pitch and the smell in the air. It's just amazing, man. And yeah, anybody that gets that experience will be very, very happy, and also you'll never forget it. Have I ever been to Anfield? Yes, mate. I've been to Anfield more than 30 times. It's just been a few years since I've gotten over, because obviously the channel's taken off and it's my job now, so it's difficult. Gunther said, Craig, still interruption and lag. Well, nobody else has reported it apart from that one person a moment ago, mate. So, apologies if there is, but there's not really much I can do about it. I'm wired straight into the Ethernet cable, straight into the router, you know. So, I don't know. Nobody else is complaining too much about a lag, so I'm going to just carry on. Do you think Spurs will be a tough one, or do you expect us to win it comfortably? It's always a difficult one when you play Spurs. Yeah, it's always difficult when you play Spurs because you don't know what Spurs are going to show up. You know, it could be straightforward and we could play them off the park, or we could end up in a mad end-to-end game. I just literally went over the Jonathan David stuff 2 minutes ago, mate. It's just Ornstein saying he'd be one of the most sought after free transfers. Lincoln Liverpool is one of the clubs keeping tabs on him. And I just asked people earlier on, you know, do you think he's good enough for Liverpool? Because I'm kind of more on the no side than the yes side. But when I did watch some clips and stuff of him earlier on, I was surprised at the different types of goals he was scoring. And I know these clips and highlight reels make everybody look brilliant, but it was an impressive little few minutes sitting there and watching the different types of goals, his movement and stuff like that. Craig, the community will always support you taking a trip to Anfield. You're very open and through about your absence and will be there upon your return. Look, it's brilliant, mate, thank you. But it's also, I have to be able to afford the whole thing and to take the week off work. And you're not lagging, but your audio cuts out. Oh, okay. Let me just have a look at my mic. 1 sec. Oh, I'm on the right microphone connection. I'll listen to it back later on and try and figure it out. But for now, all I can do is carry on. Yeah, it's more a case of, you know, I've got to make sure I can afford to take the time off and that as well. Because this is my job. So, but we've had a decent few months. So yeah, I'm buzzing for getting over in January for the game. So, Ben, I banned you, mate, because you're just being a fucking arsehole at this point. Yeah, whatever it is that you're cry-arsing at me over, mate, you're non-stop posting it, and it's getting funnier, lol. I don't find it lol at all. I find it really dispiriting that it's happening. So, you know, obviously I want to get to the bottom of it, but smart arsiness isn't helpful, unfortunately. And I don't know where these cunts have come from recently, but there's been a few smart arses in the chat creeping in over match days and stuff, and we're gonna root them out and get rid of them because that's not what we want in here. So who do we want in the semi-final, said Glenn. I don't think there's an easy semi there, Glenn. That sounds a little bit... I don't think there's an easy opponent in the semi-final group. They're all good teams there. You could look at all those teams and think they'll all give us a game. If I had to pick, I think it would be nice to see a North London derby semi-final, and then us against Newcastle, because then you'd be guaranteed one team from kind of north England and one team from London in the final. So yeah, I'd probably edge Liverpool. Newcastle would be the one I'd look out for, but most importantly, I want the semi-final second leg at Anfield. That's the one I'd be looking for. So mods, is Andy in the chat? Because I need to mod Andy. Now look, I'm going to have to add some new mods soon as well, by the way, because there's been some people creeping into our chat in recent weeks that aren't being on the level, and they're genuinely just trying to cause trouble and make it sound like they're not. So they'll ask innocent questions over and over again, or bring things up, or ask me things just to try and bait me and wind me up. And we're not idiots. We spot it, we see it, but we also want to make sure we have enough moderators so everybody can sit back, enjoy the streams, and not feel like they're constantly having to look at the chat and stuff as well. So I will be adding in a few more moderators. In fact, you know what? Let's do it tonight while you guys are in. Let me have a look. So, Petter, I think I want to make you a mod, mate. You're a Chelsea fan, but that might actually work to my advantage, because you're not going to be as invested in a Liverpool game if you're with us. So if it's okay with you, Petter, I'd love to add you as a moderator, mate, because you're a very good lad and I appreciate you being in. So let's add him. Who else have we got? Heavy Metal D. Mark, any suggestions for Mark as well as our chief moderator? Let me know. So I'm going to basically be led by Mark on this, because Mark keeps a close eye on all the chat and stuff. So Mark sends me a few suggestions, I'll mod them up. So Andy's been done, that's good. Good to see Andy's been done. Okay. Right, let's have a look. Mervyn, I think Mervyn, you've been around more than long enough. Let's throw Mervyn one. Thank you, Mervyn. You've been around a long time as well, mate. Appreciate you being in. Fancy a Limerick mod? Oh yeah, why not, JJ? Why not? Right, I'm going to keep adding some more in. So, Mark said TOTT2KZ1. If you're watching, mate, let me know. We'd love to add you as a mod as well. So, basically, I'm looking for people that I recognise that have been in the chat for ages. And that's not a slight on anybody else, by the way. It's just you build up a repertoire with people. You get to know them a bit. And, mods are an important role for us, because we don't want people being too trigger happy either and just, removing stuff they don't like. It has to be offensive or whatever. So, there you go. TOTT2KZ1. There you are, bro. Cool. Nice. Rich, actually, if you're up for it, mate, you've been around ages. Would love you to be a mod, Rich Purse, if you're up for it. So on the contracts, not really, Rich. Not too much today, mate. It's just a frustration around the Trent situation to see Ornstein saying that there's been no breakthrough or no significant... no, what's his actual wording? Sorry, I want to get it right. Bear with me, sorry. I want to get this right so I'm not putting the wrong words in David Ornstein's mouth. 1 second. So Orno said, there has been no significant progress in negotiations so far. He also said Trent Alexander-Arnold has demonstrated strong loyalty to Liverpool and the club is making every effort to retain him. I don't know so much about that first part, but yeah. It worries me, Rich. Sorry, on that one it worries me. Thank you, Rich. Let me just add that in for you there, bro. Done. Fancy a mod from South Africa? Yep. You're on the same time as us as well, mate, pretty much. So there you go, Joshua. So, Mark, quick question. Can you add mods, Mark? Have you got the ability to add mods as a managing mod? I don't know what ability you have or don't have, Mark. Harley, yes, Harley, you can definitely be a moderator, my friend. You've definitely been around a long time. There you go, Harley. Thank you for your offer as well. Okay, a couple of more from Mark. Right, Nevelyn, where are you, bro? Where's Nevelyn? There you are. Oh, no, wrong one. Don't click that one. Jesus, I was nearly hitting hide from the channel, Nevelyn. 1 second, bro. There you go. Thank you, Nevelyn. And who's the other one that Mark said to me? Dark Ruby, where are you, bro? If you could throw a comment in, mate, really would appreciate that one. Roger, yes, sir. You can be a mod. You've been around ages as well. And a Canadian mod, why not? We love the Canadians. So Dark Ruby's the only other one I'm looking for here in the chat. If you're around, Dark Ruby, just... There you are. There you are. Thank you. Cool. Thank you. So look, what I will say to you guys is, anyone who's in on Sunday for the watch along as well, remind me, because I'm going to add in a load of new moderators on Sunday. Because I want our moderators to be able to, yes, moderate the chat a little bit, but I also want them to be able to enjoy the match days and not have to just constantly feel like they need to focus solely on the chat. So we're going to, Aryan, yeah, I'll give you a shout as well, mate. There you go. So yeah, remind me on Sunday if you can, please, folks, and I'll add in a load more as well. Because it's important to us that the people come into our chat feel like they can, you know, speak without being wound up. And can I ask you a question? Do you guys think that there have been people in being a little bit snide lately and trying to wind us all up? Because I've noticed it, and I don't know if I'm wrong or not, but I think there's been some people who've come in just to try and get under our skin, and it pisses me off. Ah, okay. Thank you, Mark. Money oriented. I don't know where you're going with that one, mate. I need a bit more than money oriented. Sorry. Craig throwing mod like it's nothing. It's important. You know, I wouldn't be able to stream without the moderators doing what they do, and I mean that sincerely. You know, I've been on other people's chats before, and I just see the toxicity in it, and I couldn't cope with it. So to me, it's so important that we've built the channel and the chat to be as friendly as possible, while still, you know, obviously having a bit of banter in there as well. Mods are so important. Honestly, I could not be here doing this without them. Jason, how are you, bro? Said they're probably City fans not knowing what to do with their time while losing. Ross, I can't ignore my Ballymun friend, mate. Got to get you in there as a mod, Ross. There you go, Ross. USA Copwhite said, some people hate to see us happy. Yeah, it's weird, right? Like, snidey little feckers. Right, we're going to stay on for the draw. So, we're going to hang on for the draw. And we'll stick with it. Ignore those who just want us to stir up problems. Do you know what the problem with me is, though? I'm depending on what humour I'm in, I can be very easy to trigger. So I try my best to ignore them, But sometimes, I don't like people coming in to wind, not me up as much, but everybody else. Like asking questions like they know the answer to already. So let's check in on this poll, by the way. Do you think Trent wants to stay? We've had over 1,400 votes on it. So we've just got a post there from Dave O'Seacop as well that said, reports in Saudi Arabia state Bobby Firmino is set to join Fenerbahce, as you guys informed me of earlier on as well. So very interesting one there. I think it's fair to say Bobby's time in Saudi hasn't really been a massive success for him, but I think he'd love going to Besiktas. Or sorry, Fenerbahce. Fenerbahce is the one. I think we said Besiktas, someone said earlier on. But Fenerbahce, that'll be interesting. So we're going to end that poll, but 59% of you guys feel that he doesn't want to be here, and the other remaining 40 odd percent, or 41%, feels like he does. The draw is at 10:30, am it, mate? 10:30. What's my answer to the poll? I mean, that's fair, Dylan. Now that the poll's over, I guess I can answer. I don't think he wants to be here. But I don't know. I will never go fully in on anybody because I don't know Trent. And I never really take his body language as something to get a read on him on either, because he seems like a fairly introverted guy. So, but I can't get away from this one thing, right? Like I've said, all the way through this process, I've worked backwards on this. So I looked at it from the point of view of, do I understand Trent not wanting to commit his future after Klopp was departing and he didn't know what was next? Yes, I understood that. So I had sympathy there and I had understanding there. Then it was, he wants to see who the next coach is. Totally understandable. Arne comes in. He wants to see, one, will that manager improve the team? Will he improve him? And will we be competitive? And again, I feel like the answer to that question has been a resounding yes. So on my checklist of reasons as to why he hasn't committed, I've run out of reasons. And now I'm at the point of feeling like he might be taking us for mugs a little bit. I have to say might be because, again, I got to reiterate, I don't know. But to read from the outside, I feel like a lot of this could go away with just, I want to stay here. That's it. That's all I want to hear from him. I want to stay here. After that, he can negotiate with the club all he wants. But we haven't heard that. We've heard it from the other two. And if this club does mean that much to you, and it is everything to you, and you grew up idolising it, you want to captain it one day, say it. Come out and say it. What do I think of AGT and the stuff he's been saying? I pay absolutely no attention to him or anything he has to say about me, Liverpool, or life. It's just, he's irrelevant to me, mate, so I don't care what he's been saying. You know what he won't be saying? I get more views than Anfield Agenda, because he never will. So I don't really give a fuck after that, mate. These people are all there to talk as much as they want. And remember what I said a minute ago about people coming in trying to wind us up? Well, that's exactly what you've just done. So off you pop. Trying to get a rise out of me to say something negative about somebody else when, like I've always said, I don't punch down. I mind my own business, do my own thing. People are free to talk about me all they want, because that's all they can do, is talk. So, I don't care. I'm very comfortable in my own skin, very comfortable with my chat, my community, my numbers, everything around what I'm doing. Let the rest of them talk. Looking forward to the draw. I'm intrigued by it, Adam. Yeah, intrigued. Mervyn said, Craig, how much is Trent on there now per week? I think in and around 200 grand, if I'm not mistaken. Somewhere close to that anyway. 180, 200 grand, in and around that. Don't listen to the keeper. I don't, because I don't pay attention to them. This is the thing people need to realise. I don't watch other people's content because I don't have the time. I don't pay attention to all the squabbling little fuckers who try to make a name for themselves by talking about... All I'll say to this is, like I've said many, many times again, if anybody has anything to say about me, let's say it to me. You know, I'm not a hard man to find. If anybody has anything to say it to me. But I'll react to you in person and not on a keyboard or on a podcast or anything like that, because you're not worth my fucking time. Henderson Galbraith said, I get the feeling that Jurgen praised Trent to the hilt and Slot treats him like any other teammate, and I don't think he likes that. His attitude has gotten really poor and it's a horrible look. So again, I don't really want to talk about Trent's attitude, not knowing Trent. It would be unfair of me to speak about his attitude when I don't know him. I don't know what makes him tick. I can only speak about how I feel looking at the contract saga, and I don't feel like it's been well played out. Michael said, last year I was convinced we could win a quadruple. This year I'm adamant we will. Well in, Michael. Whose super chat did I miss? David, sorry bro. He said join Arsenal, they're full of excuses. I don't know what that's about, David. You're going to have to fill me in on that one. The detective, appreciate you bro, thank you so much. Said, Craig, here's what I have to say to you. You're the man and the channel's amazing. The channel is amazing, as I've said, but it's only amazing because of you guys. You guys make the channel what it is. My job's easy. I come on and talk to you guys every night. It's your warmth, your friendliness, your banter that makes, in my opinion, the chat brilliant. So thank you, man. I appreciate you. Craig, will you ever do the FIFA streams again? No, mate. Do you know what? I'm glad I did them for that little time because it was funny to look back at it. But I think you got a glimpse into there. I won't have a professional FIFA career on the horizon anytime soon. Not with my big sausage fingers hitting the wrong buttons and bringing up menus and all on the screen. And yeah, it was fun though. It was fun for that little brief period. Timmy said, it's definitely a good point that Craig makes about Trent's role not being as important under Slot as it was under Klopp, but I just worry it'll cost more to replace him. Oh look, mate, that's a very valid point. There's no denying that if you lose Trent, there's a hole there to fill. And a hole that some of it can be filled by Conor Bradley, but you probably are going to have to go into the market. But also, I don't know the total numbers here. So, like, let's say he wanted 300 grand a week and it was a 5-year contract. So what's that? 15 million quid a year over 5 years, 75 million quid. Plus maybe a signing on bonus. So let's say you're talking about 80 million quid over 5 years. Well, what would it cost to bring in another decent right back on about 70 or 80 grand a week over 4 or 5 years? You know, I don't know if the numbers add up for Liverpool or how it looks in that regard. Look, there's no denying that all of us would like Trent to stay. And everything I've said tonight is caveated by, of course, all of our first want and desire is for Trent to stay. But I find it difficult to hear how much he loves and respects the club from other people, but not really see that borne out in any reassurance to a fan base that's, you know, very nervous about the situation. So, again, we've got you covered with the draw, don't worry. People in the chat will let us know when it goes live and it starts. Craig, is it right Bobby's released a book his time at Liverpool? Yeah, that came out last year, if I remember. I'm almost certain that book came out last year. Or very early on this year. What's your opinion on Robbo and his recent form? It's not great, you know. I do think we need a bigger sample size, though, before we really make a final decision on Robbo's form. You know, Arna seemed to believe he's still having a knock-on effect from not having a full pre-season and carrying that injury, obviously, that came back from the Euros. So, yeah, I think we need to be a bit more patient. And the fact that Costas has stepped up a bit under Arna as well, I think gives us a bit more breathing room. But, yeah, I'm personally just not at the point of writing Robbo off yet. But I can understand any concerns because he doesn't look like the same player at the minute. Who do you want to face? I don't mind, Anton. Newcastle, you know, would be an interesting one. And then you could have a North London derby in the other one. But I don't think there is an easy semi-final. Honestly, it's 4 good teams left in the competition. Would I start Jota against Spurs? Oh God, yeah. 100% Mervyn. I think the front line against Spurs, I would be baffled if it isn't Salah on the right, Jota through the middle, Diaz on the left. I'd be almost certain that'll be the starting attackers. Thoughts on the whole Mudryk alleged doping scandal? I don't really know all that much about it. I know is it meldonium or whatever, which is like a heart medication that can increase endurance and recovery. I think one of the tennis players was banned for it years ago as well. It isn't available in the UK or European market, I believe. But like anybody else, they've every right to go through the full process. And I don't know. You know, I'm not a doping expert. All we know is that, you know, he seemingly failed the test. Right, so draw is taking place right now. Draw is taking place right now. Mark will be keeping us up to date with it. Sharapova, thank you, Timmy. Yeah, I remembered it was one of the tennis players that was given a ban for it. Here's what I don't understand though, is that there's supposed to be strict liability in doping offences, which means it kind of doesn't matter how it got into your system. You're responsible for what's in your system. But sometimes it feels like that strict liability goes out the window in, it's contamination or whatever. Do you know what you've never heard? Somebody go, yeah, I did it, yeah. A fair cop, I did it. I cheated. It's like every single person that's ever failed a doping offence, you hear the shock and horror on how could this possibly have happened to me and blah, blah, blah. I don't remember anybody ever just going, yeah, I did it, yeah. Does Chiesa deserve minutes against Spurs in your opinion? Well, he deserves minutes, you know, as much as if we need him to come on to do something and the game justifies him coming off the bench to make a difference. Yes, but I don't think he will start against Spurs. And actually, I was a little bit disappointed last night because a lot of people were going in on Chiesa and expecting stuff that I just didn't think was reasonable. You know, last night was about him getting minutes in his legs and he was always going to look a little bit rusty. Still nearly scored, but some people were totally just laying into him and saying he's a waster and all that. I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. Do I think Chiesa would make a good striker or a false nine? Yes, but you wouldn't be hanging your season on him because we don't know enough about what Chiesa is going to look like for us yet to make that declaration. But of course, he can play anywhere across the front line. So, Damien, the news on Jonathan David was David Ornstein said that he's going to be one of the most prized free agents in the summer, that Liverpool and some other Premier League clubs were looking at him. And that was pretty much it, mate, to be honest with you. Anita, it's a home and away, so it's going to be Yeah, it's a home and away draw, so you're going to have a home game at one point of the two. It's a two-legged semi. Have I been to Drogheda? Of course I've been to Drogheda many times. Doping is mostly an accident. Admitting fault can lead to a longer ban. Yes and no. Again, strict liability exists, so how it got into your body is irrelevant. You're responsible for what's in your body. That's what strict liability means. And admitting to it, while you say could lead to a longer ban, you can also look at it the other way and saying you've saved the investigation time, you've saved money, you've made it easier for the authorities. And I think anybody who puts their hands up for guilt in anything needs to get some credit for admitting the guilt. So I don't think admitting it would lead to a longer ban. There is already the rules written around a 4-year ban being the maximum sentence for doping anyway. Show me the man, I said. My Italian Juve friend said Chiesa's best suited as a left winger. He's miles better on the wings compared to being swapped around. I would suggest he's probably better coming in off the right wing. Personally, onto that left foot, but I just hope he stays fit and available and is able. I'm looking forward to him getting his goal. Why is Pogba back after only 1 year though? So he went to the Court of Arbitration for Sport, I believe, and it was mitigated down to 18 months, if my memory's right. And again, I'm not a doping expert or anything like it. I just I remember seeing that I think he had peeled that, and then it was the Court of Arbitration for Sport, by the way, seems to just fucking wash down everybody's bans to shorter times, or even if it's football clubs and transfer bans, everything that goes to the Court of Arbitration for Sport seems to end up reducing bans. Do I like lasagna? I do not, no. Pizza said, good evening, Craig. Bring Anfield Agenda to South Africa just like you did in Liverpool earlier. I've said many, many, many times, mate, I will come to South Africa to do a show, no problem, but somebody has to help me find the right venue because I don't know anything about where the right areas are to do it. So you give me the venue and I'll show up, I promise you. That's the problem. We don't know these areas well enough to know the right venues. That's one, obviously suitable for what we do, and two, accessible to people. Exactly, Henderson Galbraith. Exactly. Send me location. That's the right way to look at it, bro. A Toronto show. I'd love a Toronto show. I've said this before. I haven't been to Canada in 19 years now. Yeah, it's a long time since I've been in Canada. So, again, send location. We'll give you a tour of South Africa while you're here. I've said it so many times. I've not got one email with a venue or anyone offering to help us sort it out. Me and Connor have already discussed it behind the scenes. We will come to South Africa in a heartbeat. It's somewhere I've always wanted to visit. So yeah, it's just about finding the right place. But it's no problem to us, man. We go over, no problem. Be a joy to visit South Africa. What's your favourite drink? Diet Coke and Fanta Lemon. Yeah, I'm on a mad Fanta Lemon buzz. Are you ever doing one in Bristol? No, I don't think so. No plans. I was in Bristol actually a while back. Actually, we were in Bristol when we were getting Ben signed up. Right, so here comes the draw, ladies and gentlemen. Number 1 Arsenal, number 2 Liverpool, number 3 Newcastle, number 4 Spurs. Studley said Fanta Lemon rules. It does, and it hits even better when you're in like Spain or Portugal or Turkey on holidays. Fanta Lemon, I don't know, away on holidays, Fanta Lemon just hits different. What about a show in Derry? Yes, again, man, love to get back up north for a show. We've done Belfast. I don't know Derry. I've never been to Derry, so again, yeah. Liverpool Spurs. Mark saying Arsenal Newcastle. So, do we know, Mark, who came out first? Did we come out of the half first? So we got Spurs, but are we home or away in the first leg? Oh, we're away and then home. Oh, hello. Hello. That'll do. That'll do. I'll take that. So Spurs away for the first leg and Anfield obviously for the second leg. So Liverpool are drawn against Spurs in the semi-final of the League Cup, meaning we would have got United there probably if they had got through. So second leg at Anfield, I think that's about the best you can hope for in these scenarios. We will take that, ladies and gentlemen. Boom. We love that. So just to confirm, the semi-final draw is Arsenal at home for the first leg, then away in Newcastle for the second leg. Liverpool away at Spurs for the first leg, at home at Anfield for the return leg. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. And yeah, let's wait and see. Spurs want their first trophy under Ange. Well, they're going to have to come through us to get it. So there we go. So look, we'll get a little preview of that game, won't we? Coming up this weekend against Spurs at their gaff on Sunday. So we'll take that. Right, I'm going to go record a quick video with a recap of the news and, of course, the breaking news around the draw. So keep an eye out for that video. If you've come in late, drop it in the next 15 minutes or so. I will catch up with you guys tomorrow, where we'll have our usual late night agenda show. And I will be off on Saturday, just to put that out there. No stream on Saturday because I'm going to be watching the boxing and I'm taking the day off. So we will see you tomorrow. Much love to all of you. Do drop a like for me before you head off. If you haven't hit the subscribe button as well, please do. And again, thank you for joining me tonight. I will catch up with you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Bye-bye.